Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does anything actually rhyme with man? Here's a search, no there's not, make one up. Schmon, look out, here comes the Spider-Schmon.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remembered so you don't have to. Let's continue Spider-Month with what everybody says is the greatest of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
I've been reading poetry lately.
Whatever that means.
Spider-Man 2. People went nuts when this film came out, saying it was a game changer, one of the best sequels ever made, as well as one of the best comic book movies ever made.
It gets kind of itchy. It rides up in the crotch a little bit, too.
They are right, from a certain point of view. Changing up writers from 1 to 4, even getting one of the great screenwriters, Alvin Sargent. I remember at first being a little let down because I expected the dialogue to be more like ordinary people, but still got a lot of the campiness from the first movie. Looking back though, I realized if it was written more realistic, it wouldn't have fit. It's like going from Batman Returns to Batman Forever. The style change would have been way too distracting and out of nowhere. So I've grown to appreciate how the movie tries to bring in more elements of realism while still being in the same charmingly hokey universe as the first. This movie still has a lot of great what the fuck moments though, and we're going to go over which ones work, which ones don't, and which ones both. Let's continue Spider-Month with Spider-Man 2. After the best opening credit sequence to a comic book movie ever, how dare you cut back to me thinking I was gonna make a joke about that? We find Spider-Man on his first perilous mission of the film. Delivering pizza.
In 8 minutes, I am defaulting on Joe's 29-minute guarantee.
If the Fire Nation does not get this in under 8 minutes, they're canceling the Last Airbender sequel. Don't smile at that! This immediately sets the tone for the entire film. In the first one, I felt like they were still trying to find their footing for what the style was, but here, it dives right into the zaniness with no apologies. I feel like someone can figure out right away if this is for them or not. Oh man, I can't wait to see the next Blade! Out. This is gonna be fun. And Darwinism at work, I got a pizza to deliver. Everybody gets one.
Yes, Mr. Spider-Man.
This, of course, makes Peter late for his delivery, causing him to lose his job.
Give me another chance.
Again, tone set. That is both kinda sad, but really funny at the same time. This bizarre world feels so much more embraced than before. The only thing to cement it is,
get your pretty little portfolio off my desk before I go into a diabetic coma.
You are proof cloning will continue because when you die, we're still gonna have you on the roll.
I don't think this covers the advance I gave you a couple weeks ago. Hey, chin up, okay?
If I can survive being Rita Repulsa, you can survive this. Maybe another reason I like this movie is I get to see Maguire endlessly tortured. It's like this movie is a Tobey sadist, and I'm very okay with that.
Dr. Connors.
Your grades have been steadily declining. You're late for class.
You're forgetting to utilize me until the reboot? Not cool. Peter goes to Aunt May, who planned a surprise birthday party inviting all his friends. Both of them.
We're about to make a breakthrough in fusion.
Your father would be so proud, rest his soul.
What was his cause of death again? Well, my butler who tended his wounds said giant knife to the balls. From Spider-Man? Well, unless he's leaving out some crucial information, I'm making that assumption, yes. In one of my favorite lines that I'm not sure was intentional, Aunt May wakes up dreaming Uncle Ben is still alive. She clarifies everybody is gone, I'm sure referring to the party, but with Rosemary Harris being such a good actress, you get the feeling she could be talking about all the people in her life.
Oh, for a second there, I thought I was years ago. Everybody's gone, aren't they? Did they have a good time?
I'm sure they did.
Even when you're not trying, you're being emotional.
It's just that I miss your Uncle Ben so much. Were I to face the one responsible for what happened,
I'd probably give him the silent treatment and then start a garage sale. I am loopy. I also like Peter and Mary Jane recreating their talk in the backyard. And again, the dialogue seems a bit more genuine this time instead of just quoting cheesy one-liners at each other. For the most part, she tries hitting on him, he turns her down, and then she says she's seeing someone else. Leading to this weird line.
I'm seeing somebody now.
Oh, therapy.
How would you take that?
A person, a man.
So it's like therapy, but with sex and dinner. And I obsess over you in both. Parker sneaks into his apartment trying to hide from his landlord and daughter so he can delay paying the rent.
Hi. What's hi? Can I spend it?
Hi, Pete.
I'm just gonna say it. These two are my favorite characters in all the movies.
Promise.
If promises were crackers, my daughter would be fat.
I want a sitcom where they own a building, all the tenants are superheroes, and they never realize it. If that can become a show, why not this? Get on it! Peter visits Dr. Octavius, played by Alfred Molina, who's working on a groundbreaking project under Harry at Oscorp. But he's heard of Peter's infamous laziness.
Well, being brilliant's not enough, young man. Intelligence is not a privilege, it's a gift, and you use it for the good of mankind.
Like a co-worker of mine once said, with great power comes great come on! They do get along, though, as Peter is fascinated by the possibility of Octavius creating the power of the sun. But he has a fear he might have miscalculated.
Are you sure you could stabilize the fusion reaction?
Rosie, our new friend thinks I'm gonna blow up the city.
I'm just saying I know scientists who turned into goblin people. Carry the one. I mean what I said when I mentioned this movie got more realistic dialogue. It just happens to be for a Frank Capra flick.
But if you want to get a woman to fall in love with you, feed her poetry.
Poetry.
Never fails.
If that doesn't work, try some marshmallow rice squares.
Those are swell.
Peter decides to see Mary Jane's play, but once again, he gets sidetracked by Spider-Man problems. Yeah, if there's anything I know, New York on a weekend evening is always traffic-free for a car chase. I should point out that the effects in this film are a lot better. Even when they look a little fake, they're still clever and ambitious, which is more than I can say for some of the extras.
It's a web. Go, Spidey, go!
Cut! Do we have time to do a take two? No. Great job, totally convincing! Glad to see that fired wrestling announcer got another job.
No one will be seated after the doors are closed.
It helps maintain the illusion.
I wonder if that's a clue to him one day playing Mysterio. Jesus, struck a nerve!
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins away.
Racist? I don't know. I watched Fresh Off the Boat. I think that balances me out. Parker finds his Spidey powers are fading away, though, forcing him to use the elevator. Hal Sparks comes in to clarify this was definitely an early 2000s movie.
Cool Spidey outfit.
Thanks.
I actually never thought this scene was written that funny, but let's be honest, this image alone is all you need. They can say anything, and you're guaranteed to laugh. The only thing that makes this image funnier is if you switched him out with, "You already have him in dual roles, I promise nobody would question this!" The next day, Peter tries calling Mary Jane to explain why he wasn't at the play, but he runs out of money to put in the phone.
I want to tell you the truth. Here it is.
I'm Player X.
I'm Spider-Man.
That too. Though I actually get less hate for that. I think. The next day, Peter attends Dr. Evil's experiment, as well as apparently open mic night.
Has anybody lost a large roll of $20 bills in a rubber band? Because we found the rubber band. It's a terrible joke.
Am I giving it to the Stockholm, or is this awkward first date writing actually starting to grow on me? Octavius gets on to his groundbreaking experiment, just using these everyday mechanical arms that hook into his cerebellum using artificial intelligence to control their movements. Fuck the sun thing, there's like 1,000,000 gold mines in those alone!
If the artificial intelligence in the arms is as advanced as you suggest, couldn't that make you vulnerable to them?
One may ask, why even put artificial intelligence in a tool like that? It's like giving construction equipment a soul, as we saw in Supergirl. That is so dangerous!
Fasten your seatbelts.
He gives the order to Jin to start the experiment, but it wouldn't be a Spider-Man movie without science going wrong, or an extra giving a weird line read.
This is a breakthrough beyond your father's dreams.
I just learned that line 2 seconds ago. I'm proud of however I said it. The energy starts sucking all the metal into it, though, causing it to go awry.
Shut it off!
This doesn't change anything.
Okay, into the sun you go. We get one of those wonderful gruesome without really being gruesome deaths as his wife is stabbed in the eye with a piece of glass, killing her. How about that? A Spider-Man movie that actually earns its PG-13 rating. But critic, what about Mary Jane's wet shirt, the disintegrating skeletons, and the goblin killing people? which were shown in the trailer approved for all audiences. Well, clearly you had to be over 13 in order to accept the disturbing nature of all of those. But what about... This was PG! Cut the umbilical cord! It's continued with a great scene when Octavius is knocked out, but his arms are still awake, killing all the doctors trying to remove them. Sorry, that was from the Evil Dead movies, but it's wonderfully hard to tell, isn't it? Apparently Octavius was not that well sedated as he wakes up seconds after his arms killed everybody. Oh, is that operation gonna take 2 minutes?
Oh, that's how I was supposed to do it.
The Daily Bugle tries to think up what to name their latest scientist gone wrong.
Science Squid?
Crap.
Doctor Strange.
That's pretty good.
Wow, that shout-out worked.
Mad scientist goes berserk and we don't have pictures.
I heard Spider-Man was there.
I look forward to where that doesn't go. As much as I bash the lame exposition in the first film, this might have the most poorly written introduction to an absolutely pointless character in any of these movies.
I need you, come here. You're all I got. Big party for an American hero. My son, the astronaut.
Oh, that line's so bad even Simmons couldn't save it. Maybe if it was, they're celebrating my son. Oh, you have a son? Yes, he's in the space program. He's an astronaut. Or it's for my son John. He just returned from space. Really? From space? Yes, he's an astronaut. But no, we get the most forced, unnatural introductory line of...
My son, the astronaut.
Have you met my coworker, the editor? He's right next to my acquaintance, the secretary. Say hello to my black guy, the black guy. Oh, what do you care? You'll forget about when you see us followed by this meme.
Could you pay me in advance?
Meanwhile, Octavius hides out near the water as the AI in his arms seem to be controlling him. At first, the thought of the AI arms going evil seemed a little dumb, but it does kind of make sense. They're programmed to finish the experiment, and that's exactly what they'll do, by any means necessary. So whether it's getting equipment to keep it going, robbing a bank to buy that equipment, or gloating about killing innocent people, wait, what?
Now you'll have this woman's death on your conscience!
Or I'll peel the flesh off her bones.
Okay, somewhere a few extra steps were taken, but Christ, those arms look cool! In this pretty awesome fight scene, Spider-Man tries to stop Doc Ock from Scrooge McDucking people to death as he takes Aunt May hostage. Take it away, awkward extras! Sometimes I have no idea what this movie is doing, I just know I have no choice but to love it. Spider-Man defeats Doc Ock, though, saving Aunt May.
There you go.
Don't I get to kiss upside down? Jesus, Aunt May. Wait, Peter? I mean, fuck. Later that night, Peter covers Jameson's big event.
Fish out of my wife with the minister here.
Oh, have you met my son, the astronaut? This is all for my son, the astronaut. Keep an eye out for the astronaut, my son.
The committee is pleased to present the handsome, the heroic, the delicious.
The hell?
The delicious Captain John Jameson.
That was so uncomfortable, I feel like John Travolta was holding that moment by its chin. It's revealed that he's going out with Mary Jane, which I guess makes Peter think this is the perfect time to make his move.
Day by day, he gazed upon her. Day by day, he sighed with passion.
Don't start.
Oh, golly gee, Beef, reading poetry to her didn't work. I guess I better move on to serenading her upon moonlight.
John has seen my show 5 times. Even my father. He came backstage to borrow cash.
I am more than happy to ask you for cash. My rent is years due. After Harry slaps Peter for not turning Spider-Man into him. You're tearing me apart, Peter! Son, the astronaut, says Mary Jane just agreed to marry him. And yes, I know he has a name, but honestly, that is all he is in this film. Son, the astronaut. He's the only plot device I think is legit bad in this movie because you could cut him out and you wouldn't miss a thing. He's barely in the film. There's no reason to make him Jameson's son. He has no personality as there's no time to give him one. And there's no reason to have him marry MJ except that's what every 90s rom-com was doing. So it's perfect for this 2004 flick. I guess the idea is to build up all the bad stuff happening to Peter, but there's already enough. You can cut him out and still get the same amount of pressure and guilt. If anything, it makes Mary Jane look douchey. She's apparently at a point where she's ready to marry this guy, yet she's still putting the moves on Peter. I mean, what was this, a month ago?
I miss your Uncle Ben. Can you believe that it's 2 years next month since he was taken?
Yeah, and that scene hasn't happened yet. So it's safe to say she's ready to marry this guy, and yet she's still hitting on her ex-boyfriend. Not even ex-boyfriend, just ex-friend-friend. In the deleted scenes, they explain this a bit more, at least adding to her character a bit, but in the theatrical cut, this is entirely pointless.
You're such a mystery.
The only bigger mystery is, why was this guy in this movie? Peter's powers continue to fail him, so he goes to see a cool doctor. You know, he has a tie-dye shirt, so he's cool. And he talks about a dream where he's Spider-Man and his powers don't work.
I'm Spider-Man, but I'm losing my powers. I'm climbing a wall, but I keep falling.
Oh my God, you're Wonder Woman.
My diagnosis? It's up here.
He starts to put together he may not want to be Spider-Man anymore, as a dream vision zombie visit from Uncle Ben has him calling it quits.
I can't live your dreams anymore.
Take my hand, son.
I'm gonna take you to Christmas past. Yeah, what was that supposed to do? I'm Spider-Man. No more.
Please, you have one more movie until that. He tosses out the suit and leaves Spider-Man behind, proving with no power comes not giving a shit.
I hope they die.
So now that you're engaged, I turned down your advances and I treated you like shit. Wanna go out?
Will you think about it?
Think about what?
Picking up where we left off. Punch me, I bleed.
He's giving you an open invitation to punch him. Don't miss this opportunity. Meanwhile, at the Daily Bugle, somebody has something interesting to drop off. It's a pineapple.
I finally got to him.
Jameson is of course thrilled that Spider-Man threw in the towel, but the guilt finally gets to Peter, who confesses to Aunt May he's the reason Uncle Ben is dead.
What do you mean?
I went someplace else.
I really like this scene because unlike the other times Peter cries, where it looks like they just put drops in his eyes before shouting action, here he really works up to it. It feels real. I also like that for such a friendly-go-lucky world, the friendliest character in the movies doesn't let him off so easily. In fact, here's a recreation of every movie theater in the world when this scene played.
I've tried to tell you so many times.
Oh my God!
But you know I'm also Spider-Man, so there's a happy ending for me. Octavius finishes his machine and visits Harry to get the missing tritium he needs to make it work. Harry tells him if he gets Spider-Man, he'll give him all the tritium he wants.
How do I find him?
Peter Parker.
Parker?
He takes pictures of Spider-Man for the Bugle.
A couple for Vanity Fair. Bottom line, they're close. Meanwhile, crime is up 75%. Okay, even everyone from the Spider-Verse couldn't make that big a difference. As yet another kid is trapped in a fire. Does nobody listen to Bugs Bunny fire safety?
You know, kids, the kitchen ain't a playground.
Peter saves her, but finds out some more bad news.
Some poor soul got trapped on the 4th floor.
Do we have time to do another? No. You're fantastic! Now it's time for cake!
Got a message. It's your aunt.
Thanks.
This scene honestly doesn't add a ton and can probably be cut out, but it goes against the 12th commandment. Thou shalt not cut out any scene that has these two in them, which honestly made more sense than the 11th commandment. Peter visits Aunt May again in the hopes that maybe she's forgiven him. Oh, hey, husband killer, what's up?
Pish posh, we needn't talk about it.
She of course forgives him, spewing a super long-winded speech about what it means to be a hero.
It keeps us honest, gives us strength, makes us noble.
Originally, I thought this deserved a little leeway because I thought this was her way of saying that she knows that he's Spider-Man. But in the next film, she still seems to be in the dark. So what should take a few lines to hit the mark goes on for what feels like an eternity, even with an actress this good saying it.
Kids like Henry need a hero. Courageous, self-sacrificing people.
People line up for him, cheer them, scream their names, and years later they'll tell...
Everybody loves a hero.
Just to get a glimpse of the one who taught him
I believe there's a hero in all of us.
Honestly, this whole part of the movie starts to drag a bit. Maybe it's because we know what the characters are gonna do. He's gonna go back to being Spider-Man. She's not gonna marry my son, the astronaut. Spider-Man's gonna fight Octavius. The pieces are set, the emotions are actually very well established. Yet this drags on for 30 minutes. You don't need the long speeches. You don't need him practicing again. You don't need this incredibly disturbing O-face. You hit the mark fine, now you're kind of overstaying your welcome. Next, you'll say there's another Peter dumping MJ scene.
I thought I could be there for you, but I can't.
The scene is at least short, as it's interrupted by Octavius finally getting the ball rolling again. Or the car, I should say. Yes, when Harry told you to convince Peter to tell you where Spider-Man is, he meant to throw a car at him and hope he has superhuman abilities to sense it and not be killed. What the hell would he have done if he didn't have those powers and didn't move out of the way? Peter, tell me where Spider-Man is! Or blink! Or stop bleeding! This was a bad idea. He kidnaps Mary Jane because, you know, they wanted to mix things up. But Peter gets his powers back, makes an Arthur fist, and gives the coolest shot in the movie. Wow, my sunglasses have some 4K quality shit going on there. Oh, where's the incredible one-liners from the first film when you need them? Your time is up, Spider-Man!
It's you whose time is up, Doc Ock! Up of your mind!
The action takes them to easily the best scene in the movie as they fight on a train that's out of control and Spider-Man has to save everybody. Even if a few of these effects are a hint dated, and I do mean only a few, it's just a cool idea that they take every advantage of. I feel like everything you could do with this action sequence, they accomplish. Even if it does lead to some pretty hilarious faces. It's great when your hero's action face constantly looks like he's trying to hold in a fart. In a truly touching moment, all the people on the train agree they won't reveal his secret identity. Even Big Pussy and Dan Castellaneta.
It's all right.
We won't tell nobody.
Well, great. Doesn't mean all the people who took pictures on their phones are gonna be that quiet. Doc Ock knocks out Spider-Man, though, and exchanges him for the tritium, allowing Harry to discover the truth. Actually, no, I wouldn't tell Doc Ock who Spider-Man was, so he threw me in the spider suit. There, I saved 2 subplots from movie 3, and yet somehow there's still 19 left! Peter tells Harry MJ is in danger, and he needs to tell him where they are.
Surprise.
Thank God you're under this leaky pipe. For a second, I thought we weren't gonna have you drenched in a Spider-Man movie. Quick, Peter, try poetry on him! Peter literally knocks some sense into Doc Ock, and he realizes the error of his ways and tries to stop the machine from destroying the city. He sacrifices himself while Peter accidentally reveals who he is to MJ.
Spider-Man will always have enemies. I can't let you take that risk.
Well, it's good to know I'm only cheating on one person now. He drops her off as the movie shows that Harry will still have a place for Peter, though.
Son, I'm here.
He hallucinates his father's ghost, leading him to the only thing that could possibly destroy Spider-Man. Sony's ideas for the sequel. It looks like at MJ's wedding, though, she leaves her kind fiancé. Again, little screen time, but he seemed nice enough. Humiliated at the altar to be in a relationship based entirely on lies.
Call Deborah. Tell her not to open the caviar. My son, the astronaut, was left by my ex-daughter-in-law, the bitch.
After running by a very bizarre Punisher cameo. Original MCU? Mary Jane confesses her love to Peter.
I know there'll be risks, but I want to face them with you.
I mean, people kidnapped me over and over even when I wasn't with you, so might as well have the sex. Peter is finally given a happy ending as he swings by copters from, I think, the Playmobil movie, and a look of dread looms over Mary Jane's face. Don't worry, great things are on the horizon for you. It's an appropriate look. So that was Spider-Man 2. Is it corny and hokey like the first one? Sure, but I feel like people expect, even prefer that by this point. On top of that, even if the style isn't your thing, there's still a lot of amazing elements in it. The effects surprisingly hold up pretty well, and even when they don't, they're super energized. It really takes time to show the little things that might impact a superhero's life that superhero movies really didn't do back then. And despite a few hiccups, it really feels like it has a unique voice, both comedically and dramatically. I like that it can balance quiet, heartfelt moments with really zany, over-the-top antics in a way that's odd, but also engaging. The world and characters feel more fleshed out, but in a way that advances the style rather than takes away from it. Sure, a few things don't hold up, but I find more elements that get better with time than I do elements that date it. So swing on in and take a look at the best of Raimi's Spider-Man films. Right before we swing in and look at his not those things I just said, I'm the Nostalgia Critic, and get your dancing shoes ready.
Some poor soul got trapped on the 4th floor.
Hey, Doug Walker here. Akron Canton Food Bank is this week's charity shoutout. Their mission is to lead a collaborative network that empowers people to experience healthy and hunger-free lives. They distribute food to feed people as well as advocate, engage, and convene their community in the fight to end hunger. They provide an efficient operation to collect, sort, and distribute food, securing food donations from corporate food donors, state and federal food assistance programs, as well as Feeding America, the National Food Bank Network. If you look at their site, you can see all the various ways they help feed the hungry and make sure they never go hungry again. With a 4-star rating on Charity Navigator, you can click on the link and discover the best way you can help this wonderful organization.